Okay, live. Hopefully, this will be a fun and informative conversation. And I've heard this topic come up several times um, in just some popular discussions in the manosphere and then in the woman's sphere. You have different people talking about this topic, and along with a variety of other topics as well. So, when I listen to the conversations in the manosphere, right? I hear black women who say that they are involved with white men, or if we say that we're involved with white men, then automatically these men that are black women bashing, just start talking about all the reasons why white men are dating us. So I want to go down some of these reasons. And if you are a white male or if you are a black female that is in an interracial relationship, I kind of want to sort of get your take. And I'm actually going to add a link if anybody's brave enough to come in and kind of share their experience. I'm going to put a link in the chat if you want to go ahead and chime in and talk about your experience. So, one of the reasons that I've heard so many times that white men date black women or get involved with black women is that white men have something to prove to themselves. So when I kind of step back for a little bit and I try to understand the scope of that rationality, I'm trying to figure out, what white men have to prove to themselves by dating a black woman. And oftentimes, some men will say, well, they're trying to prove how not racist they are, or they're trying to validate that they're not racist if they come from a family or a history of racism. And, in a way, I could kind of get with that rationality, but it still seems kind of dumb to me that someone to prove to themselves and maybe society that they're not racist by getting involved with a black woman. Crazy stuff, but stands to reason. Yeah, I try to explore everyone's rationale as to why they feel a certain way, and I've been really working on trying not to get offended. People make certain statements that just don't resonate to my reasoning. I try to dive in, and so if anybody have a comment about what white men would prove outside of the fact that they're racist, while by dating black women, please give me another rationality. But in my mind, I feel like white men, based off of the arguments that are popular in society today, would have the least to prove by dating a black woman. And you can agree with that or not, or disagree, but I personally feel like white men would have the least to prove taking on a black woman. And I think that a white man who takes on a black woman with children would absolutely have the least to prove, because in that situation he's taking on a package deal. And in a couple of videos back, I talked about the couple who was battling critical race theory, a white male and a black woman, and he actually fell in love with her. He fell in love with her character, and that was his rationality as to why he was dating, or why he married his black wife, and she had children. So, another thing. So a lot of people are attributing white men dating black women to white guilt. So, anybody, and please chime in, Marshall, you think that it's crazy to say that white men dating black women is a result of white guilt? Could it be, and this is just crazy old me talking, that, white men don't have anything to prove dating a black woman, and that maybe white men are just attracted to the beauty of black women? Maybe it's a beauty that is maybe unique to something that maybe they're not used to, and maybe white men are attracted to black women because they find black women exotic. I'm just throwing out ideas, to get away from the fact that white men date black women because they're trying to prove that they're not racist, or it could be the character of the woman. So I wanted to explore this conversation because I find that it's almost ignorant to place a reason as to why people have fallen in love with each other. Because I often wonder during the conversations during Love versus Virginia, what did that white man have to prove in a social climate like that to be with that black woman? It seems like that man organically loved that woman, unless there's some other deep meaning behind that particular story that I missed out on, but it seemed like it was organic love and they were fighting for that. So I want people to start thinking about this because, I almost feel like we should get rid of the term interracial dating and just say dating. You know what I mean? Because I feel like, when you listen to a lot of the conversations that are going on today, a lot of people who are either single or even married, I feel like people are setting all these standards and requirements and limitations, and also even injecting a lot of insecurity individuals that are just trying to find the right. I personally believe that people should the person that makes them happy, whether they look like them or not. You know what I mean? I don't feel like happiness involves being the same color as a person. White men date any women because of attraction. It's involuntary. I would be attracted to any color, and that's good. I would say this for the most part. I've met, so I'll tell you, white guys, and there are white guy type, and I feel like black women do have to be on the fence about these types because there are some white men that are just curious about what it's like to be with a black woman. They have no intentions of being with this woman. They're just curious about what it's like to be with a woman physically, sexually. So there are some white men that have ill intentions, and a lot of those types of white men, I kind of associate them as those inner white supremacists who just feel like they need to feel like they can should dominate. I had sex with a black woman, and that's like a brag point for them now. So there are some slimy white men out there that are very ill intentioned, in my opinion, and they may target or try to gas up a black woman because they're just curious about what it's like to be with that woman. But then there's other white men and I know white guys who have grown up predominantly around black people, and because they're so immersed in the black culture, they just like black women. They're just very interested in black women. And then there's the white guys that have never really been around black people, but they could, kind of appreciate the culture. They don't have any ill intentions or will. They just is underexposure. That's why I always tell people. Some people are not racist. They're just underexposed to other people. But you have the underexposed white guy who just sort of meets this black woman. They vibe. They have this chemistry. Their characters kind of align, and life happens as it should. And so, in these scenarios, I would say, you have the ill intentioned white guy that absolutely people can say that this man may be doing. And I don't even believe that that's even white guilt. It could be maybe a small level of white supremacy where this man only wants to have relations with black women to feel like he has dominated a black woman. Like I said, but you have your other extreme, a white guy that just grew up around black people. He liked the flavor. He liked the culture. You know what I mean? I call these people, sort of, Rachel Dolezals. You know what I mean? Because these people get so immersed in the black culture that, just want to be around black people. They just want to be aligned with, they want to align themselves romantically with a black woman. And you look at Robert De Niro, all of his wives are black. What the hell do Robert De Niro, if you want to go with the argument that white men date black women because they have something to prove, can somebody please tell me what Robert De Niro has been proving all these years dating these black women? I'm just really curious about this because I feel like, I feel like if people need to start giving people credit for just organically loving somebody else for who they are. I think, society makes people feel, insecurities about, the relationships that they want to pursue. I was listening to a panel, and this, black gentleman was talking about pro-black. I consider myself a pro-black conservative. So he was saying that, you can't really say that you're pro-black if you're not the pro-black family. And, I don't subscribe to, an idea of what the family looks like. I think, if you want to get tribal about this, then I would say that, yeah, all my kids should look black, and that's a proud point for me. But if you want to get, in reality and literally, you know what I mean? I think, home and family is where an organic heart is, where people love you, appreciate you, where there is character, where there is love, like I said. So I don't really subscribe to, the popular conversations of the black family, because there are too many white men that are taking on black women and their children, and they are happy. They are absolutely happy. My brother-in-law is a white man. He's a white man, and and my sister is very happy. They've been together for about 7 years, and they don't have any issues. They don't have there's no unnecessary conversations about race. You know what I mean? Because these are just two people that they organically fell for each other. It is what it is. And that's that. They don't feel uncomfortable about their relationship. I think people start feeling uncomfortable about their interracial relationship when they go out into society, and you have all these people that are supposed to be inclusive, they're the ones making comments. You know what I mean? And I actually used to be in this ignorant state of mind where, I felt like black women should be able to date white men. But, I've always had some weird feeling when black men dated white women, because I felt like they were the ones that had something to prove by dating a white woman. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. That was just my opinion at the time. So when it comes to, the opinions of other people, I think it sort of infiltrates people's minds too. And it sort of makes them kind of feel iffy about their intentions of dating somebody interracially. So I want people to think about this. I don't personally think that white men have anything to prove dating a black woman. Like I said, if anything, I feel like more black men that target white women have something more to prove to themselves in that instance than anything. And I've always heard that from the black women's circle, that black men that date white women, that's more of like a token for them. And black women feel like once certain black men get to a certain level, we're not good enough for them anyways. So it's like, hey, we want to be able to play in the snow as well. So as a person who explores interracial dating and advocate interracial dating, because I advocate people just loving each other and loving who you want to love, I would say that people need to change their minds about the intentions of individuals that come together. I mean, because I'm kind of tired of hearing this argument that white men only date black women because they have some form of white guilt. I find that very absurd. Personally, I think that it doesn't make any sense. You have too many examples. I look at David Bowie, right? David Bowie and Iman, like, I mean, can somebody please tell me, what did he have to prove? What did that man have to prove being in love with that woman all those years? I think Robert De Niro was with his black wife for 21 years or whatnot. I don't know if they're a stranger, but I'm just saying, what do these men have to prove? These wealthy men have to prove being with these black women. And, I don't think that anybody can provide a sound answer to, that ignorant assumption, because at the end of the day, it is just an ignorant assumption. And I think it's a way to make people feel insecure about being in interracial relationships and being happy with somebody that worked for them outside of their race. It's really interesting. I don't get any negative feedback about interracial dating from anybody outside of people that look like me. People that look like me. And it's interesting because, some of our people in the Black community, we have such this idea of tribalism and ownership of one another and each other's image and narrative, that ownership is really robbing people of an opportunity to be truly happy. Because I know a lot of Black women who didn't pursue relationships with white men because of what other people were saying about them. All the while, this woman is stuck, still trying to find a Black brother to lock it down for her. So I tell my Black women, look, listen to what these Black men are saying. Listen to what the Black men are saying. And you make the best decision for you. Make the best decision for you, because like I said, what a Black man will not do, there is a man outside of your race that will. And to drive the point home again, I don't personally think that white men date Black women because they have anything to prove. I really don't. And I think, when you get into a conservative Black woman, I think that is where white men really become attracted to Black women. You know what I mean? When I find that Black women who have a conservative mindset, actually this Black guy on LinkedIn, he was just like, why is it that, every time a Black woman is conservative, she dates a white guy? And it's like, first of all, when a man is conservative, when a Black man is conservative, he is not going to last long on the market. Okay? All the good Black men that I know who are Black conservative men, they are married. They are married. They are happily married. And they've been married for a long time in a structured Black family. You know what I mean? So it's not like when you go into the conservative space, there's just this huge, option of just men that look like you. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Instead of just waiting for somebody to look like you, just be happy. Just be happy. I'm conservative and I never dated anyone who wasn't Black, but you're right about the Black conversation, man, because they have the values. The Black conservative men, they have the values, and there's not a whole lot of them out there. It's not a whole lot of them out there. And the ones that are still available, in my opinion, when I'm listening to some of these red pill type conservative type men, they seem like tyrants. I don't, I wouldn't want to really rock with them on, even a good day, because some of them seem like they have a very skewed mindset of leadership. But I never say never. You know what I mean? Never say never. Because I know a lot of Black women who are like, I want a Black man. I want a Black man, and I'm not settling for less. And I'm like, that is your preference. Do whatever makes you happy. But there are a lot of women that are recognizing that, sometimes the quality of man that you're looking for is really readily available. You just have to, broaden your box a little bit. And so do you think about a conservative Black woman dating a liberal Black man? It seems like the convos halt because they don't think critically. Here's my thing. I have made a decision in my mind that I don't have anything in common with liberal Black men. It would not be a benefit to me to date a liberal man or, Black, white, whatever. I'm not interested in them. Like, when I look at the conversations and what some people can bandwagon think on, I wouldn't even want to be tied down into a relationship with somebody that thinks like that. So I already said in my mind, I do not want to date a liberal Black man. If you are a Democrat, I'm not dating you. I will not date a Black man that is a Democrat, especially. That's just way too much struggle, pains, and transgression for me to live a happy life with. That's too much addiction to things that, to me have long since passed and are being recycled. And you are not intelligent enough to recognize that. So it would have to be a Democratic brother that was really like on the fence about the Democrats, politically in tune, and who could really start to make sense of the arguments and demonstrate that before I would even talk to the brother. It's like, I'm going to just leave you and your struggles right over there because I don't want them. So that's just me personally, though. That's just me personally. Like, I don't think it's a good balance, especially when you get into heated political discussions and you guys, and some people do it. I mean, there's a commentator. His wife was, I believe, a Republican and he was a Democrat, a white couple, and they make it. They make sense. But me personally, knowing my personality and knowing everything that I know right now, I could not rock with a dude that was a Democrat. It just wouldn't be a good relationship for me. Would you date somebody that would you date a Democratic dude, Lex? Do you think you can get past all of those feelings and have a happy relationship with a Democratic black man? That Democratic black man, I'm telling you, that is a tough pill to swallow. I mean, that's just too much emotion. Like, when I think about Democratic black men, I think about angry black men. Really angry black men that are so on the fence and are just, they are just victimized and tormented. And if you do not understand or feel their pain from their eyes and their point of view, you are just this person that's worthy to attack. I don't really like to even deal with those type of men because, again, like I said, when you are a Democrat, you are emotionally imbalanced, in my opinion. I don't care if you're black or white or whatever you are. When you are a Democrat, you are emotionally imbalanced. No matter how intelligent or smart you are, scholarly pieces of paper you got, the Democratic mindset calls for emotional imbalance in some way. Look, I've dated black men more in between or indifferent. I couldn't date a hardcore liberal, though. No, neither can I. But no, I can't get with the extreme black liberal who are into the struggle black life. Nope, nope, never. Like, and that's the thing. It's like, if this is the option for me with the black men, I'm playing in the snow. I am playing in the snow. I'm not even playing with these people. I'm gonna be happy. I'll be happy, but I'm playing in the snow because ain't nobody got time for all that sadness and struggle, and you just trying to live your life. So for those of you who are joining, we've been talking about reasons why white men choose to date black women. A lot of people, the number one ignorant reason why people think the white men choose to date black women is because white men have something to prove to themselves, and it comes in the form of proving that they are not racist. To be honest, I finally be open to the change it up for dating different races. Black men just aren't doing it for black women emotionally. And you listen to the manosphere out there, and it's just like, you guys don't want us anyway. So Lex, I'm gonna tell you straight up, be happy. Be happy. And if that means dating outside of your race to be happy, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I feel like if I can think about my dating history, and I would say some of the nicest guys that I didn't really appreciate were men that were outside of my race that I was on the fence on really committing to because I was dealing with that whole racial difference. So, I'm over that. And I realized that when I look back at all the men that I missed out on being hung up on the fact that I wanted me to find me a black man, I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. Especially how some of these men are talking. I'm not about to hold up my happiness waiting on anybody that looks like me. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm open to happiness. I'm available to happiness, whether you look like me or not. So I would definitely tell you, Open your horizons, taste the flavor, play in the snow, and just try happiness with no limitations. That's my advice with that. Like, just don't even think about it, just do it. And you'd be surprised, you know, you may vibe with a guy that don't look like you and he may make you the happiest woman in the world and you wouldn't even know it. So I tell women, don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. And a lot of black women, they're like, I don't know how to really be with a white guy because white guys don't know black women struggle and they don't I am literally, I don't know what's going on. I'm getting kicked out of my stream. Like, constantly. I'm telling you, I believe in the cyber lords. Yes, we are the least desirable race to black men. Most friends have dated white men and say they treat them like queens. Girl, I'm not going to refute that. I'm not going to refute that. White men, I don't really personally, to me, when you treat a woman as good as a lot of white men treat their black women, I can't really say that you got anything to prove. I mean, I can see if they were just asshole white men taking on these black women and mistreating them. But I'm telling you, I agree with you. I agree with you 100% that many of the black female friends that I have that are involved with men that are outside of our race, they are happy. And they've been together for a grip too. And a lot of them end up getting married. Like, black women who date outside of their race, in my opinion, men that date black women outside of the race tend to marry black women quicker than black men. Do you think that's fair to say? I personally believe that, because a lot of these men, they're not trying to let this woman go. It's like, oh my God, she's beautiful, she's this. A lot of men who are sold on the woman that they're with, they don't waste any time. You with me, Lex? They don't waste time. Ain't no we gonna date for 5 years and get married. No, these dudes that get they black women who are not black men, I find that these dudes marry these women really quickly. I'm talking about they're dating like 1, 2 years, and then they on it. That like these dudes do not waste time, and you gotta give white dudes and dudes outside of the black race props for appreciating a black woman like that. Like, nope, you in love with me? You sure? You sure? Okay, boom, I'm pop your ring. I'm about to make you a happy woman. So that's why I tell black women, you don't have to be miserable. Baby, you don't have to be miserable. You need to just diversify your dating options and play in the snow. Play in the snow or play with somebody that's not whatever your preference is. You know what I mean? I used to Hispanic, whatever you do. Girl, yes, I've dated beta black men and they play and wait to marry an alpha woman. Beta black men, I'm telling you, they're intimidated by alpha women. Let me tell you something about beta black men. They need alpha women. The confidence of an alpha woman, the mindset of an alpha woman is a threat to them. And I am strong on that. Beta black men are very, very intimidated by self actualized, driven, and career successful black women. And these men tend to be the ones that keep their woman on a lower frequency. He dials her frequency down. If she's feeling to herself too much, if she's too successful, he's going to figure out a way to bring her frequency down. And this is not just beta black men, this is beta men in general. Because again, when you're in the beta level, you are not at your optimal masculinity at all. You're in your feelings. You're in your feelings. You're not in your confidence, your rationality, your surety. You're not there. You are a beta male that's more emotionally drawn than logically drawn. So I agree with that. But then the black beta man will turn around and marry a beta black woman quick. Absolutely, because they need that control. They need the control. Just, you kind of think about it like the Joe Budden show. I was talking about that a couple of weeks ago. You got the Joe Budden, right? You have Rory and Mal, right? Right? I look at Rory and Mal as two beta men. Joe Budden is a alpha male. There's no denying the fact that Joe Budden is an alpha male, right? And he was dealing with these two beta men. So, right, Roy and Mal, they dip off the show, whatever the circumstances is. And what did Joe Budden do? He went and got him two more beta men. And this time, he was going to make sure that they didn't put their mouths on alpha things. You know what I mean? It's just how beta type personalities are. They need to, if they cannot control somebody, if somebody gets too alpha for them, they're going to downgrade to a beta. And then because they can control that woman more and they can take their frustrations out on her if they want to. When I've dated white men, I will say this, like, I've never really had an issue with them, but the ones I've dated in the past, they have been kind of beta. And I think the disconnect for me is that, again, I realize that I need a Hemingway guy, right? I need an alpha male. I probably need a male misogynist. It's probably what some people, I'm telling you, like, Donald Trump was a man. He was a man's man. He was a man's man. He was a Hemingway man minus the big fish. But I think that I like masculine men, and so I know my limitations with beta men, whether they black or white. We don't have nothing in common. You're not going to deal with me. You're not going to be able to deal with me. I need a dude to be able to just put me in my place, like, quiet your storm. Yes, sir. That was hot that you just put me in my place. Yeah, I can't fade anything but an alpha. He needs to be more alpha than me. And that's the thing. The feminists, they have literally created this illusion that all women want these beta type men, these crybaby, emotionally in tuned. It's like, don't nobody want no man like that. You know what I mean? And these other men who maybe, I don't know, for whatever stage in their life their emasculation happened, you know what I mean? These dudes, they're turning their backs on masculine men that have been able to actualize themselves as masculine men. It's like these beta people in society. I keep talking about these people. They're sad. A lot of them are jealous and envious of the fact that they have not actualized in the same way. There's a lot of men on YouTube that I follow in the little manosphere, because I like to hear what they're saying. And you got brothers that are teaching men how to go from alpha to beta. So it's not a whole bunch of emotional pansies running around here. Some of them believe that they're high value men because Kevin Samuels told them that they are, or whatever. And you're still a beta male who's now trying to evaluate yourself with these superficial standards so that you can mask over the fact that you're not alpha and you're not super duper masculine. Like, my idea of masculine is like my man walking in the door with deer blood all over him. I done killed a deer. That's so hot, babe. That's what I want. Like, don't come up in here with that crybaby stuff. And I like the white dudes like that. Like me personally, I have a type too. So I don't really like all white men. I don't get down with all white men. Like I said, I like the Hemingways, backwater white men. So I think black women, when you starting to date white dudes, you might want to think about your type. You know what I mean? Every woman has a type of guy. You know what I mean? And even with the white guys, I look at me, I'm attracted to the omega alpha type men. The ones that are just they work with their hands, they're wood shoppy, you know what I mean? They're street smart, as well as have their level of book smarts, but that's my type. And I think the reason why some black women are on the fence about dating white men sometimes is that you haven't developed the type. And you're maybe assuming that all white men are the same. All white men are not the same. You know what I mean? And I think people need to realize that too. While you're limiting your dating options, maybe you're limiting your dating options to people outside of your race because you have this idea of what all white men are like. So, white men have their flavors. You have your M&M white guys. You have your chats, is what I call them, your corporate white guys. They're really cute. All polished and stuff. They remind me of like your Patrick Batemans, minus the murder. And then I call them like the Brodies, the ones that just go out, the brawny guys that just go out chopping woods. Those are the hottest ones. Those are the hottest ones to me. The ones that are out there chopping wood, tractors, trailers, killing game. Check out those white dudes. Check out those white dudes. When you get into the corporate space, white dudes, I feel like there's just, I don't know, like there'll be more disconnect for me personally when I go into corporate type white guys. They don't really, I don't know, the vibes are off for me. I know white men love black women, but to be honest, for me, I sometimes wonder if they really do. Or I'm shocked when I find out someone does. They aren't as vocal. I think that there are a lot of white men that are attracted to black women because they just are truly attracted by beautiful and maybe exotic looking women. I mean, I find that, there are some like I said, there's some white guys that are attracted to black women and they're only curious about sleeping with us. And you can kind of tell those slimes too. You can tell a slimy white guy that just really wants to sleep with you because they're the lames that even tell you, I've never been with a black girl before. And I just be like, and you're not going to be one today. Bye. Because you kind of know what they're going to be about. You know what I mean? They're in it just for the curiosity. You know what I mean? But there are some white men who really do, they're organic with their stuff. And it's just like sometimes, I've had it where, you just work together and they start catching vibes, you know what I mean? And it's just something how you guys interact, and before you know it, you had a Leave It to Beaver white guy liking you, and you're like, damn, what am I gonna do with you, Opie? I'm gonna have to figure out how to vibe with you. Why don't you hear them speak about them being interested in black women as much? You're killing me. You know what? Here's the thing. I think white men, with how this society is set up in conversations, you know what I mean? I think that, society makes it hard for white men to just be like, I like black women. There's some white men that don't got no shame in their game, and they'll just be like, I like black women. So what? And I date black women, but they're confident about why they like or date black women, because some of them are just truly attracted to black women. Maybe it was the way they grew up. Maybe it was just something like, I knew this white guy. He said that he fell in love with black women the first time that he saw Grace Jones on TV. And ever since then, he liked black women. He said he saw her. He said, I never saw a woman look like her before. Neither have I, really. Grace Jones had some very unique things about her. But he fell in love with Grace Jones. And ever since then, he has had an affinity for black women. So everybody's affinity for any given race. I have a black girlfriend right now, and she is really into these men. That is her thing. That is her flavor. She will not date any other man but Japanese men. You know what I mean? But that flavor is for everybody. You know what I mean? But I think white men I feel like they're fearful to be vocal about being interested in black women because of all of these stereotypes. Like, you're only liking black women because you have white guilt, or you have something to prove to yourself. And these white men, they're like, no, not really. I just think she's a fly, woman. I'm interested in being with a woman like that. But I think that society makes it really difficult for people to just say, I'm interested in this type of race just because I think that they're beautiful, or there's something exotic, about them. I think that's what it is. I think, there would be a whole lot more white men and women shouting from the rooftops that they liked, somebody that didn't look like them, if we weren't such a race baiting, constantly talking about race society instead of talking about race in the right way. You know what I mean? But we're constantly having these polarizing conversations about our differences that, people are having a hard time even knowing how to organically embrace somebody these days, because people coming up with all kinds of assumptions. What was that? The guy was it at the Grammys? A white guy. He has and they were calling him a white supremacist or whatever. He ended up having a black wife, and people were like, how can he be a white supremacist and he has a black wife? And then all the stupid, ignorant liberals came up with all these ideas. Well, and this is a white guy. White guy made the comment, well, some white guys, not, and I guess you should know, some white guys only get with black women because they're curious. So, I mean, that is a reason. So, anyways, you guys, I say be happy. Black women, specifically, I don't believe or subscribe to any ideas of, tribalism when it comes to a person's happiness. I believe you can be pro-black and still be pro-loving people because of the characteristics and the things that naturally attract you to them. I don't believe that, I find that most white men are interested in black women who are in the military, career-driven politics, and if she's athletic like a gym. I agree. White men have standards too, though. You know what I mean? White men definitely have standards. And I think that, a lot of white men, I think they like how black women tend to ride for their men too. Like, look at Janice McAfee. Like, I was looking at Janice McAfee, and I feel so terrible for that woman right now. I feel terrible for Janice McAfee. My heart just goes out to that woman so much, because if you look at how she looked at her husband, like, You could tell that man was good to her. He was good to her. And I find that, white men, just as much as they like the career drivers, they like women that they feel like can be on their team. And I think where white men tend to appreciate the ride or die black woman a little bit better than some of our brothers is some sisters, no matter how hard you ride for your man, he's still going to disrespect. You know what I mean? And typically, white dudes, may have a level of more of appreciation for how hard a black woman will ride for him than some of our own brothers. They typically don't date black women for shallow reasons. I don't think they dated. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, the fact that people even think that a black man is dating a woman because he has something to prove. I'm like what? To prove that a love a black woman sincerely and organically and make her happy. I mean, like, I just I'm so sorry, you guys. Keep getting. Oh, I done put my stuff away and everything, and this thing is still going live. I'm gonna wrap it up because they keep kicking me out of StreamYard. So that means that my time on the internet space is off. Thank you guys for hanging with me, and I gotta find me a different streaming service because this is. I don't know. My internet is saying all the bars. I done bought me one of these broadband boosters, and this stuff is still tripping, which is getting on my nerve. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. Catch it on the replay. It wasn't that choppy. Hopefully, I don't. It wasn't that choppy, but hopefully, this was a good discussion for people to kind of think about. Hopefully, we brought out some points that maybe you thought about that you're insecure about. Do not be insecure about dating somebody outside of your race, but also when you see people dating outside of their race, don't cast assumptions that a white man is walking next to a black woman, making her happy because he has something to prove or he's trying to get over his white guilt. Some white men need to thank some black men for granting them the opportunity. You know what? I'm sure white dudes that have found themselves a really good black woman and he's loving her or whatnot. He is not mad at those brothers that said no to her. He is not mad at them. He is not mad at them. A wonderful evening. Love who you want to, love how you want to. I don't think that anybody should be really subscribing to this idea of a family image at this point. I believe that we need to be promoting family structure, structured families, And whether those families are interracial or they look the same, I think that we just need to be promoting, more structure in our relationships. And I think we can start that by, making it, sort of limiting our perceptions about interracial relationships and making comments about people's intentions of being with other people. And Black people, we really need to do a better job at this. We really need to do a better job at embracing interracial relationships. And I think that a lot of us do, but some of us old school people, we just compelled to say something about somebody, about why they're with somebody else, all the while this person is being happy and you sitting up there miserable talking about how they hate themselves and how they white man is getting over his white guilt by being with her, all the while he is treating that woman like a queen. How many of y'all know Black women with white men? I'm just curious. I'm just really, really curious. How many of y'all know Black women with white men? And are these Black women happy? Do you feel like they are the victims of somebody's white guilt? Tiff says that she knows people, Black women, that are happily with white men being treated like queens. They don't seem to be victims of anybody's white guilt. I've been happy with white men before. Like I said, I've had to get over a lot of my hangups being with white men. And I think even now still, when I hear different conversations going on in my community, it sort of sways my mindset a little bit. But at the end of the day, I say love who you want, be with who makes you happy. And at the end of the day, it's nobody else's business. And that's my stop clap saying it's time to go. Bye.